Michael Bisping reacts to Belal Muhammad's refusal to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov. During his run as a contender, as he got closer to the title, the newly crowned welterweight champ was vocal about his intention to be an active champion and never try to pick opponents, something that he heavily criticized Kamaru Usman for. Now, things appear to have changed for Belal, as in recent media appearances, he stated that he's not really interested in fighting Shavkat, and that instead, Kamaru and Shavkat should fight each other for the #1 contender spot. Of course, neither the former champion or Rakhmonov liked what Belal had to say, and generally speaking, the MMA community also wasn't too happy about this recent development. Speaking with Adam Catterall, Michael Bisping reacted to Belal's comments, what this all might mean for the division, and made a humorous comparison between Muhammad and Ian Gary. In all likelihood, fans have nothing to worry about, as Belal is certainly not in the category of the few UFC fighters that can have significant influence on the company's decision-making on who and when they will have their next fight. Anyway, this is what Bisping and Catterall had to say.
There's nobody in the welterweight division right now with a more deserving shot than Shavkat Rakhmonov. 18-0, 18 finishes. Granted, some of the wins aren't exactly over big superstars of the division.
No.
But are we saying, or are you saying, or are the masses saying that Belal pulled an Ian Gary? Because he called out Shavkat as well. He pulled out Shavkat. You get the props. You get everyone going, whoa, he wants the hardest fights. And then down the line, the fight doesn't materialize. He should fight Shavkat Rakhmonov. To say that Shavkat should fight Usman, listen, I would love to see that fight, Usman versus Shavkat. I think Usman's still got a lot left in the tank. I think he showed that against Hamza Chimaev. Yeah, he showed that he still got it, stepping up a weight class as well. But I don't think that's the next fight. It's got to be Belal Muhammad versus Shavkat Rakhmonov, which we both agree on.
John ANIK reacts to the current UFC heavyweight drama around Jon Jones. Discussions and speculation regarding UFC's decision to stick to their original plan of booking Jones versus Stipe and keep Tom Aspinall as an interim champion have been going on for quite some time now. While the majority of fans would prefer to see Jon against Tom next, Dana has made it clear that he's not even considering an alternate option to the Stipe matchup. And among the reasons listed was also the simply put fact that the company promised Stipe the fight, and thus it wouldn't be right if he was robbed of that opportunity. Certainly, Jon also doesn't mind fighting a 42-year-old former champion who's considered the heavyweight GOAT, but he's also made it known that he would consider sticking around after that bout to defend his belt against Tom Aspinall. That would give the fans what they want and also cement his heavyweight legacy. But the question on whether he should be fighting Stipe in the first place is of course relevant. John ANIK and Kevin IOLE share thoughts on this.
My thesis statement largely has been, what is a promotion to do in this most unique circumstance? In the red corner, you have the consensus greatest fighter of all time. And in the blue corner, you have on paper the most accomplished UFC heavyweight of all time. So when Jon tears his pec, and then you have the emergence of Tom Aspinall. So Kev, hopefully November 16th, it shall be done. But I'm not sure the UFC could have done anything unless Jon wanted to graciously vacate. And he might have been prevented promotionally from doing so.
Well, I think, my take on this, John, would be this. If they were so committed to fighting Jon versus Stipe, then strip Jon of the title because Stipe, and I hate to say this because it sounds like I'm bashing Stipe, and I am not bashing Stipe, but he does not deserve at this moment in time to fight for a world title. He has not had a win in over 4 years. It's going to be 4 years and 3 months since he had a win. He hasn't had a fight in over 3 years. So God bless him for the great resume that he has. Stipe Miocic does not deserve a championship shot. Aspinall deserves the shot.
Shawn Brady and Dana White react to the Burns fight. Shawn defeated Gilbert by decision in a fight that largely defined the trajectory of the Brazilian's career and pushed Brady closer to title contention. With the situation at the top of the division being somewhat unclear and up in the air, especially considering UFC's reluctance to lock in the next title challenger, this fight was of high importance for Brady, who is a representative of the fresh blood in the 170-pound category, something that the division really needs at this point. With a win over the former title challenger, Shawn now feels like he's closer than ever to proving himself as a worthy fighter to be put in a position to get a chance for challenging for the belt. At the post-fight press conference, he commented on his performance and current position in the UFC. Shawn also listed multiple names he would like to face next, including Colby Covington, whom he doesn't really rate high.
Former title challenger, fought some of the best, beat some of the best, lost to some of the best. I'm an amazing fighter, a guy I've looked up to in my career. Like I said earlier this week, I felt like I'm just a younger, a little bit better version of Gilbert, and I feel like I proved that tonight, but I've always looked up to him. He's an amazing fighter, and for me to go out there and beat him over 5 rounds, like I remember watching him fight Tyron Woodley and all these guys, and now for me to go in there and do it, it's definitely the biggest win of my career. I think Ian just thinks that he's fucking God's gift to earth, and he's not, you know, and I feel like everyone in the sport feels the same way. I mean, I'll fight him. I'll fight Colby. I think Colby is the easiest matchup in the division. I'll piece him up on the feet. I'll ragdoll him. But yeah, I would like to fight Ian. He's an up-and-comer. I'm a little bit older than him, but I want to be here for a long time. He's undefeated. He's got some hype. I'm going to be, before he said, I won't fight guys who are ranked behind me, I'm going to be ranked ahead of him on Tuesday with that number 6 spot. So yeah, maybe I'll let him fight me. We'll see how it works out though.
It's safe to say that Dana was underwhelmed by Gilbert's performance, and in his brief comment, he advised the Brazilian to retire.
This fight had the potential, but you know, you got to have 2 guys ready to go, and he should retire. The guy's, you know, been a great fighter. It happens to all of us. We all get older.
Robert Whittaker shares thoughts on Kamaru possibly fighting Belal Muhammad for the title next. While the former welterweight champion hasn't been active lately, and last time won in 2021 against Colby Covington, his relationship with the UFC is something that the Nigerian Nightmare can use to his advantage. Kamaru has maintained a close relationship with Dana White and Mick Maynard from the period when he was still champion, and his willingness to accept short notice fights has also been something that the UFC really values. From accepting the Masvidal fight on 1 week's notice to agreeing to fight Chimaev in similar suboptimal circumstances, Kamaru only strengthened Dana's and the company's sympathy toward him, and the fact that he looked good in his last fight, despite losing, does play to his side. Robert Whittaker thinks that the possibility of Usman getting the next title shot against Belal, even without fighting someone else beforehand, is not out of the question. The Reaper comments on the current dynamics of the welterweight championship picture.
After Usman stepped in to fight, what's his name, on like a week's notice?
Hamza.
Yeah, Chimaev. I feel like that is a lot of balls in his court. I feel like that's a lot of weight. Because that's pretty ballsy. It was a pretty good fight. I don't know. I can't say him. I wouldn't be terribly upset if he didn't get a title shot. So, yeah, it's hard to say. I can see them giving it to Usman because of that. But Usman hasn't been in for a long time. I can also see them fighting Shavkat because of that reason.